Hey everyone, it's Neha from College Shortcuts. Just really excited. I'm in my Uber on the way to my client in Florida, and I thought I would just do a quick video because I have the time and I'm obviously not driving, someone else is driving, which is awesome, because I wanted to talk with you a little bit about, why college consulting is so important for your kid. Now, what most people don't realize is that the entire college admissions process can be really stressful. I was sitting down and I was at Rice University, my alma mater, this week. It's been a pretty non-stop week for us here at College Shortcuts. And they were telling me about, the future of college admissions and how, eventually, possibly in 10 years, there'll just be an algorithm that is built that can eventually look at all the data of applications where, you can choose based on the GPA, the test score, certain keywords in the extracurricular activities, etc. And if you think about it, like just the thought of entire admissions teams, being completely eliminated in the process, and that they can create these algorithms through the data to make sure that they get a diverse population. It really kind of changes the name of the game in the college admissions industry. I know for a lot of you guys have one, maybe 2, 3, or 4 kids. For some of you, you've maybe done this once, or maybe you've done it twice. For yourself, you did it, and you maybe only applied to 2 or 3 schools, but no matter where the trend is going, there's going to be a requirement for students to really understand what it is that schools are looking for and what their unique angle is. And I think it's the one thing that most people underestimate is the importance of the unique angle. Because so many times we think that, okay, my kid got a 3.5 GPA, they did, a 30 on the ACT, they've been part of Boy Scouts. It's funny because we drove by the big Boy Scouts building just now and I thought about it. And they should just be able to get into any school, and if it's on their list, it should be easy. The problem with that is the fact that that's not always the case. I think most people haven't realized that there's 3.3 million students every year applying to college. 3.3 million. That is so many students every year applying. And at College Shortcuts, we are helping what I would call a handful of the select that really want to get the help they want, really want to get in, really want to get the services they need to really understand what it takes to get in. And it's so painful. I got an email this morning in my inbox from a mom that said, Neha, I wish I'd heard about you earlier with my older kid. We didn't know what we were doing. We just thought we could do it on our own. And my student was a top student and applied pretty much at the end of the game. He got in nowhere, and now we're having to fund an entire gap year of his life until he can get in the next time. And I said, well, you could get them in spring semester. And she goes, well, my son really wants to join in, when everyone else does, and really be part of a community. And I thought to myself, wow, I wonder what it costs to fund that child for an entire year. Just the food, the activities he's going to want to do, possibly travel, his housing, his car, all of those things. And I thought to myself, like, wow, she had invested in college consulting, which results in thousands of dollars in scholarships, in getting into the right place and saving a year worth of your kid's time and really getting this done. She would be avoiding this 12-month, what I would call mistake that happened. And it's painful that I hear stories like this. Most of you don't realize we have hundreds of thousands of parents that are watching us constantly on Facebook and listening to our messages. And so I get messages of the good things that are happening in kids' lives, but I also get messages of the warning signs where parents are really struggling and having a hard time, or when they've made mistakes and they just didn't know any better, because so many times we just trust what we know, and we only know what we know, right? Like, I think to myself about the fact that when I talk on average with some of the top students that go to public school, a lot of them will say, well, Neha, I just didn't have a high school counselor that was available to me, and I just didn't know. that there were so many steps and the level at which I should have taken care of this, even though I'm in the top 10% or top 20%. I didn't know all of this stuff. And see, you just don't know what you don't know. And the issue is you can spend hours upon hours like reading about things. I'm the type of person, just, I hate shopping, and it sounds funny. You're like, oh, you must love shopping. I don't, actually. I like to know what it is that I'm looking for. I like to do my research, and then I go and I get it, and then I leave. I don't like to think over it. I don't like to mull over it, because I don't like to waste my time. And I think that's one of the biggest things that parents don't realize, is that when you aren't booking things like this, I think to myself, and it's so hard, like when I listen to parents, they're like, oh, my child promised they'll get it done, and they've like worked with me, and they have a second kid, and they're still dragging their feet in the process because they're hoping the teenager will want to do it. They don't realize that, with us, we've decided we're not going to be working with kids late in the semester, because in all honesty, the later you wait, the harder it is to get your kid in. And if we can't drive the result, then why would we work with those children? So although it's end of July, and a lot of people are like, oh, I've got till November and December, you have to realize that you can't force an essay to come out. Getting into college is a little bit like creating a baby in the same way. It's like, you make the decision that you want to have a child, right? Or you make the decision that you want to get your kid into college, and then there's a lot of things that happen to create this baby, as I call it, the application itself, that will eventually be sent off. And it takes time. You have to feed the baby in the stomach. You have to have rest. You have to take time. It's the same process in the college admissions process. You have to sit there and think about, like, which colleges are the right fit. How do you get that information? How do you know that your kid is going to go to the right place and really be happy where they are? I mean, do you realize that this is the first time your kid is officially leaving the house? Like, leaving you forever. And basically, their support network becomes who they surround themselves with. And most people don't realize that teenagers are very malleable at that age. It's an area of development where they can absolutely either turn for the best or turn for the worst. As someone who runs two companies, I hear from both sides. I hear from parents that have 22-year-olds that are still a sophomore in college because they fell through the cracks of education and no one was there to guide them. And by the way, I'm not talking about families that don't have means. I'm talking about families where, some of their grandparents and parents run over 600 employee companies. So they know, these are top level families in terms of the amount of work they put in all day long, the kind of, people they spend time with, and yet still we're dealing with these kids that are still a sophomore as a 22-year-old, and no one is a mentor there. No one is holding them accountable. And they wait until the very last minute, and it's this waiting until the last minute that really does a disservice for our children. So I just wanted to kind of wrap up my week with you guys, because we've been having such a good time chatting and talking. Everyone that's logging in, please say hi or comment below. I love seeing you guys on. But I wanted you to know that where your kid goes ultimately decides who they spend time with, what they're going to be like, what they're going to fall in love with in terms of what subjects they love, what type of teachers they have. We want to make sure that they are very much taken care of. And while many people think, oh, I'll just pick a school off the U.S. News, World and Report list, that's not always the most effective strategy. That is a menu of colleges, but we need to figure out, like, what type of school is the right school for your child. And with college consulting, that's where you really get that deep dive of getting a sense of what your kid is like, what is their personality, who are they like, and having a mentor that's similar to them or that can really relate with them and feel like a sibling in a way that's been through the process, to make it easier and more fun. I was in my gym class this morning and I thought to myself, wow, like, I would so much rather be sleeping, or, I don't know why I'm in this room, or, I could have just skipped this workout. And there's so many excuses constantly that we can have around all of this stuff, where you can literally just be like, oh, I can just not do something, or I can put it off. Unfortunately, with college admissions, you can't put it off for that long, because eventually what happens is you start missing deadlines. Early decision is coming up in October. It's already August, guys. So we're talking about the deadline in 2 months. And if you think that you can put an early decision application together to where they say yes to you, you are sorely wrong if you can do it in such a short amount of time. I see a lot of people logging on. This is Neha, founder of College Shortcuts and Elite Private Tutors. Really glad to see you guys on. I'm in my Uber on my way. I'm heading to Florida right now for this weekend to work with some high-profile clients on the college admissions process. So please comment below, say hello. Glad to see you guys on. But I just want you to know that these deadlines are coming, and I know it's so easy to, keep going on vacation or to continue to focus specifically on other things. I see parents that are like, oh, you know what, got a book for soccer camp, and got to get my kid practicing for football, and okay, we've got these other activities and etc. And it floors me, because priorities are everything. And if you're not realizing that priorities are everything, if the end goal, like, sometimes I wonder, like, do people think about, like, what is the end goal specifically? The end goal is all about making sure that you guys are understanding what it is, right? The end goal, of course, is to ultimately get into a great college, right? Like, so why are we not investing our time and energy into that process? So many times I'll hear from parents and it's like, oh, you know what, we'll just make sure to, handle that at the very end. And they'll prioritize sports and all these other things instead of the test prep needed, or making sure the grades are right, or helping with the essays and the resume. Like, those are all the things that need to be focused on. The amount of time you spend in a sport, like, irrelevant, by the way, like, totally irrelevant and not that important, and I think one of the things that most people think is that, oh, I'll just specifically be able to, do this later. And you can spend all your time focused on extracurricular activities. Go for it. Just let me know what happens in like 8 or 9 months when you're done with the application and you're waiting for your results and whatnot, and you don't get in because you haven't prioritized the level of work needed to get it done. So I just thought I'd shoot you guys a video. It's the end of the week. I know we're all really looking forward to our weekend and spending time with family. And I urge you to take just a few minutes over the dinner table or over lunch or when you're driving with your kid to ask them and just be like, hey, you know what? I've been watching some videos online and I really would like it if we talk about getting this set up. We're spending so much time setting up all your other activities, and I know you want to get out of the house, and I know you want to graduate and you want to go to a good college. So I would really like us to, I'm going to go ahead and reach out to College Shortcuts and see what we can do to get this off your plate, because I know that it's so much easier to avoid it and not do it. But in the end, you really want to make sure that, we get this off your plate so you can really enjoy senior year. Most of the clients I work with that are wrapped up this weekend, and this client I'm doing work with on Friday, literally are going to be done like next week, and they get to pretty much enjoy senior year. Some of the kids will basically step into a little bit of senioritis. I mean, to be honest, I tell them, hey, like, you don't have to work so hard, just relax a bit, because they're already done with everything. And there's nothing that feels better, in my opinion, than when you can cross something off your to-do list. My to-do list is typically 50 tasks a day almost. We get over 500 emails just into my own inbox I practically get like an email every 10 minutes. And that's just me, not even people on my team, right? So it's really about being able to cross off what we're doing, making sure we're helping as many families as we can, and really making sure that you're getting the help you need. I'm really excited to be heading to Florida today. You know, first of all, Florida is one of my favorite places to go. It's absolutely beautiful, of course, and the families out there are just amazing. You know, they're hardworking families that, you know, the parents just really care about their child and they want the best for their kid. You know, their kid has done so much work. I mean, so much work from an academic standpoint, you know, trying to get through the classes, the extracurricular activities, like lots of commitment, great summer activities, but they really want someone to put the bow and make it perfect at the end and really bring in that level of expertise that they don't have, you know. And I think it's fascinating if you look at just in general, like when you look at adults overall, typically you use your friends or you have mentors that you hire. Ooh, I see a like. Thanks, whoever liked it. Please comment below, guys. I love it when you guys communicate. But usually we have mentors to help us and to kind of guide us. You know, this morning I was, my sister is also a fellow entrepreneur in her own ventures, and we were talking a lot about some things that she's dealing with. And oh my gosh, you know, I said to her, you know, hey, look, I've done X, Y, and Z for over 12 months. You know, people are going to tell you to do this, that, and the other and give you ideas and put them in your head. And that may not be the most effective information. I'm just telling you based on data, like just real data, like what the likelihood of you participating in that activity, what that's going to look like for you. And if you're willing to do that, then go for it. I've already done it. So it's up to you if you want to follow through. So I love doing that because I think so many times people just think that, okay, well, this is a great idea, I'll run with it, or I'll do this or that. And the thing about it is, it's not always the best advice. I mean, it's really painful to watch. I think I'm going to turn on let's see if there's a way to turn on this filter because I absolutely love it. I don't know. Hard to download filters when you're driving in an Uber. Too bad. Let's see here. Ah, yes. Check it out. I saw Wonder Woman. I like literally want to see it again and take like every teenage female I know. It's so awesome. So I got my Wonder Woman since yesterday in Voice of Asia. We were called the Queen of College Consulting. I think this is very appropriate today. So I just wanted to reach out to you guys. I know it's the end of the week and so many of you guys are on the fence or you're thinking about things, and I just want you to know a little insider secret. You know, we got over hundreds of calls yesterday. So there are a lot of parents out of that 3.3 million that are taking action, getting the help they need. And if you're on the fence and you aren't calling us, we're actually at 95% capacity. And I'm really proud to say that because we're not working with 3.3 million kids. We're only working with the select handful of kids that we believe are a great fit for us as well, and that are willing to really make sure their dreams are on their to-do list too. So we're already at 95% capacity for this year and for next year. And it's really quite remarkable because I've chosen to only work with a handful of people on my team to make sure that the kids are really getting the help that they need in the process, because I really don't want it to be where, you know, we just expand and we're not taking care of the kids and we basically feel like a high school counseling office. It's just like not what I want, right? So I'm really excited to say that, you know, we're very selective and we want to make sure that we're working with the best kids possible, but also that, you know, we just get booked and we work with kids that really understand how it works, and then same for next year. So just wanted to shoot a quick video. Super excited to have each and every one of you guys on, listening and learning more. I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing weekend. You know, I know that so many of you are really trying to figure out this process, and sometimes it can be very overwhelming for a lot of people, and I get that. But I just want to make sure that you guys are definitely taken care of and you're getting your questions answered. So anytime you guys have questions, please message us up above, because we love to answer any messages that you have. This week has been quite remarkable. I had to do a video interview. We got